So I just finished the first Z-fold card that we've ever done, and you can see it here. So this is not what we're making today, but we're gonna make another one for our Christmas in July release for 2019. And we're calling it the Snowed In Z-fold card. It's a very classic, romantic sort of card that features a nice snowed in little house in the woods. And I think this is going to be my favorite of the two, only because I'm kind of more traditional and maybe not as cutesy, but the other one's super cool, especially for families that have children that will appreciate that. But nevertheless, let's take a look at what we have here. And I'm going to begin by doing some simple things first. Now, there are two elements inside the card when you open it up that are kind of like a box card element. And we're going to begin by assembling those first. Now, what you're going to want to do is find these pieces here. This piece here, this small tree is going to be affixed to the front part of the little mechanism. So you want to take and fold your tabs forward or towards you, and then find the little tree piece that looks like this, and we're going to glue that right onto this part here. So actually, in the last video, for the other Z-fold card, I kind of did those last. I'm deciding to do these first, only because they're really easy and kind of get your feet wet. And if you haven't made anything in a while, we'll start with something simple. So get your glue on there and just match it up with the little green section here of our little mechanism. Just make sure you try to match that up as accurately as possible. And then give that a press. I did ink that with, I believe, it's a turquoise. And the exact name is Turquoise Gem. This is Versa Magic. This is the little dewdrop memento inks that I use. Okay, so we'll get that in there, and we'll just let that sit. Just make sure that that folds nicely, as it does. And then this one here, this tree, is going to be in the rear of the little mechanism, in the back part. So take the tabs and just fold them back. You can lay them flat right now, but just remember that when we get to that point, you're going to want to fold those back. So let's get our glue onto this piece here, and we'll get that glued into place, and then we can start working on the actual structure and the base of the card. It's a pretty straightforward project. Most of it is just paper piecing, and then of course we're going to assemble the little mechanism in the card, but those go together rather quickly. Okay, so just line that up, match it up nicely, and actually did some inking on this as well, just to kind of frost the little edges of our tree here. Okay, so that's that, and we'll just leave that sit for a little bit until it's time to work on the mechanism. So you want to grab your card base, and you can see we've got this beautiful, almost like a galaxy night sky sort of card. I've already gone ahead and folded it, so you want to fold it just like I have it here. Okay, and we're going to begin by working on the inside first, obviously. So what we want to do is we want to find this green piece here. Okay, and we are going to glue this down, and we want to we want to position it so that the moon is nice and aligned with this curve here, and then the edge should also meet up there as well. So I would probably make sure that the bottom right hand corner is nicely aligned, and then also make sure that this is nicely aligned as well. Okay, and we'll just get that glued into place. All right, so we're kind of starting in an area where I won't have any problems later on, because it kind of just stands on its own. It doesn't interact with any of the other sections of the card. So we'll just do this just to avoid any potential confusion or trouble. I like kind of doing the simple things and getting the pieces out of the way, and then working on the next thing in line. So again, try to make sure that you've got it lined up with the corner, and then also make sure that that moon Oh boy, gotta act quick here. Make sure that that moon hugs this curve here nicely as well. And that's how you know that you've got it in the right spot, okay? So go ahead and press that down. Okay, next we'll go ahead and take the little overlay for this piece, which is going to go right on top of this section here. I mean, it matches up perfectly. So let's get our glue on this, and I'm going to put a little bit more. I'm going to start at the bottom, and I'm going to put a little bit more glue down here so it doesn't dry as quickly. And then since there's a lot of little details here, I'm going to go a little bit softer with the glue, a little less glue as I work my way up, and try to kind of do this fairly quickly so that things don't start drying out on me. But even if they do, we can always go back in and kind of fix things if necessary. And if you have any little areas that may have too much glue, just go ahead and just kind of dab them down a little bit and smooth it out. Okay, so now I'm looking at this section here, and I'm aligning it nicely with that section there, and then working my way up with my eyes on the little tree here, and then the middle tree, and then the tree on the right, and then the rest of it should just kind of fall into place. You can kind of nudge things or scooch things over if necessary, but that is about what it should look like. Okay, there we go. That's perfect. Okay, next we can take our little moon. I've kind of made this one, it's almost like a silver foil, nice and reflective. We'll get that into place. And then we've got some little clouds, some little wispy clouds that we're going to kind of fit together like a little puzzle here in just a moment. So get your glue on that and just do your best. You can use the little top of the tree here as your initial guide as far as like rotation goes, so that you know how to put this down. There we go. And just match that up nicely. Pardon my head there. And there we go. Okay. So there's our really shiny moon. It's really going to stand out. Okay, there we go. And then we have a series of, in this case, some purple little clouds. Okay, so we're going to glue that right into place there. You can see how that fits like a little puzzle piece. Go easy on the glue there at the tip. Actually, you could go pretty easy on the glue all around for this. It's a really skinny little piece. You don't need that much glue for that, and that should fit in nicely like a little puzzle piece. I did ink that with a nice purple color, and actually I might have even gone with like a dark blue, because I think the purple just wasn't showing up as dramatically as I wanted it to, so I think I went with a blue. Okay, and we'll pop that in there just like a little puzzle. And there's that. Okay, so that is one side all done. Okay. Okay, so we're going to move our way over this way now. And here we're going to glue this part right here, and that is going to, well, you can see here that this cloud, eventually it'll be a cloud, kind of hugs this little curve here. So we want to make sure that when we place this down, that it kind of lines up with that little arch. Okay, so let's get our glue on this piece here. And like I mentioned, this is pretty much just, it's like scrapbooking in a way. I'm not really building anything dimensional right now, just flat, so it's very simple. I think you could probably have a little bit of an older child could probably help you with this. You know, maybe someone that's 8 or 9. Okay, so again, this needs to be flush at the bottom. I would lay that down and then grab the other side here and align that with that little arch there and press that down into place. I need to center myself a little bit more here. I'm kind of getting off camera. Okay. All right, so now that that's in place, we can take the little overlay and we'll just position that right over that green area. So let's do that. Let's get our glue on the back of this. And it is important that you do it in this order, because when we put the little mechanism on there, if you put the mechanism on first, you're not going to be able to get these pieces on there later, because the mechanism sits on top of these little layers that we're putting on right now. So just make sure you follow along and don't go out of order. Okay, so just line that up nicely, and then take a look at the alignment of the tree. That looks good, just like that. Okay, and we do have some little clouds here that are going to go in these little sections. So let's get our glue on the cloud. It's pretty straightforward little card. Just have to follow along with me here. Okay, get that one glued down, and then we've got this piece that's going to go right here. So let's get our glue on this one. And it's a really thin little piece, so you don't need a whole heck of a lot of glue. Just go easy on it. There we go. Let's make sure it folds nicely, and it does. Okay. All right, so far so good. Oh, you know what? Let's take a breather here, and let's look at the back of this. We've got a nice little area for journaling, stamping, writing your little sentiment. You could do a print and cut for this. You could do a draw or write and cut on this piece if you want to write your little message. I know some of you like to kind of write a little story or kind of fill your family in on the happenings with your family. This would be a good place to do that. And you want to just take a look, and as you're placing this, focus on the flat bottom here and just make sure that that is nice and parallel to the bottom there, and then also make sure that you have a nice even border going all the way around. Now in our case, this cardstock with the beautiful sky is, well, it's white core, but it's also has a white back, but that's okay. That still looks really nice, but you can see how nice that looks from the inside. Okay, now it's time to put together the side with the house. I've already kind of pre-pieced this together so that I don't have to go digging for all the different pieces on the video or during the video. Okay, so that's going to go down just like that. This piece is going down flat. So let's get our glue on this piece. And I think this one has less pieces than the little snowman card. So in some ways, it'll go together quicker. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to do a nice little line here on the edge. I don't want that peeling off. Okay, and again, you want to align this with the bottom left corner of your card base. Make sure that's nice and flush with the bottom here. There we go. Perfect. There we go. Okay, and the tops of the trees should pretty much meet right there, and that's a good indicator. Okay, now what I want to do is we're gonna put part of the mechanism in place here, and that's only because I want to make sure that everything fits nicely as far as like puzzle pieces go for the house and such. So what we're going to want to do before we put this down, actually find this piece for our tree. We need to glue this to the back here. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to actually put the glue on the back side of the tree here. You don't want to put it on the green piece because you're not going to know where to put the glue so that it doesn't show through the little cutouts. But if we put it right there, we can just pop this right on there, and then we won't make a mess. Okay, so that needs to sit just like that. And we can flip this over now and take a look from the front. That looks nice. Pretty much spot on. Let me press that flat. All right, so again, we're going to, and actually, you know what? We can probably just glue this entire mechanism down right now. That'll be fine. So you want to fold it like this, So right after the tree, you want to fold it away from you. The other fold comes towards you. So it's like this, okay? And you'll notice that on this piece here, there's a tiny little score mark right there. What you want to do is you want to flip this over and you want to place glue within that little score area. So from the edge here, you want to get your glue on here, but you don't want to go past that score mark. Okay, so just up to the score mark, no further. Just like that. And then we're going to take this and we are going to, let me make sure I'm not messing anything up here. No, we're good. We're going to align this with the very edge of the card, bottom left, on the front. Just get that right up to the very edge. Try to make sure that you have it aligned as accurately as possible so that the mechanism works nicely without any stress. Okay, there we go. So that's gonna stay straight there. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this part and we're going to glue this out to the very edge here of the card on this side. Okay, so take your glue, and you're only gonna wanna put the glue on, well, let's see, actually, you know what? You can put the glue on the entire thing, including the little sign here as well. We want that to sit nice and flat. So get your glue on this entire piece, on the little piece of wood that's holding up our sign, as well as our little bird there. And I might have had a little bit too much on our little bird there. Okay, so you want to line that up with the bottom right corner of the card. Make sure it's nice and flush with the bottom and nice and flush with the edge. Just like that. There we go. And you can press this down as well. There's a little bit of glitter on my card here, so I'm gonna have to be patient. And then while you're doing that, just give it a fold. Fold it over just to make sure that it folds nice and flat. Okay, and then you can press down from there, just to make sure that everything works properly. Okay, so there we go, and you can see here that I didn't get enough glue on there. Actually, I did. It's just that I'm gluing onto glitter and it's just not having it. So I'm gonna throw a little bit of extra glue there in that little section. Okay, and I'm going to press that down, and I'm going to be patient and let that set before I move on. Okay, so once we have this all assembled like that, this is what the mechanism is going to do. It's going to open up like that, and this is where we're going to put our little trees once we get to that point. We're not there. We're not quite there yet. I'm going to leave this closed for a second so that I can begin working on the little house here. Okay, and we're going to begin with, this piece here, and you can see why I wanted to do this first, just to make sure that I can slide this down and that it connects nicely right up to this part here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get our glue on this piece here. I guess technically, you know what we could do actually? Well, it's a little late now. I'm already putting the glue on it, that's fine. You could assemble you could do the paper piecings for the entire house first and then put the whole thing in place if you want. I don't think, it doesn't really matter which order you do it in. It'll probably be a little bit less sliding behind this tree if you do it all in one fell swoop, but that's okay. There we go. So just get that lined up with the little cutouts here for the green section. Just make sure that that lines up nicely. And just press that down. Okay. And now we're going to do the red layer of our house. I'm going to line that up with the existing yellow layer. So get your glue on the red layer here. And I did hit this with a dark red just to kind of give it a little bit of pizzazz or oomph, as I call it. Inking just kind of brings it to life a little bit. All right, so slide that behind the little tree there and just get it lined up nicely with the yellow part, just like that. Okay, perfect. So far, so good. All right, we can add our little door. There's a little cutout here at the bottom for the door. This is going to go right over that. And you want to try to line that up with the nice little curve there for the from the structure of the card. Okay, so let's get our glue on here. And one more little dot there. And just line that up nicely. Here we go. Perfect. And we do have a little bit of snow. It's going to go right on top of that. This I also hit with a little turquoise. So this is a white glitter paper. So it really kind of makes it kind of sparkle like the snow does on a nice snowy day. There we go. Get that in place. We're going to put a little rhinestone for the little doorknob. And then we have some snow. It's going to go on top of the roof because we're snowed in. I ain't going nowhere in this. I'm going to stay home and drink some warm tea, watch some Netflix, play some piano or some guitar, read, whatever it is, have a little drink. All right, so just line that up with the red layer. Make sure you've got it nice and accurately lined up, as accurate as you can get, just like that. There we go, now it's starting to come to life. That snow really set it off. And of course, there's going to be a little bit of snow on that chimney because it snowed a lot. And technically, I think that maybe they just got home after it snowed because, well, that chimney, if they had a fire going, that snow would have melted by now, which means that they just started the fire because we do have some smoke that's coming out of this, and I believe it's this piece here. Yep, this is the piece. This is our little smoke here. Now this piece is going to hang off a little bit, okay? So let's put our smoke down first, and don't put glue all the way out to the edge. What I would do is I would do a little bit of glue here, just kind of flatten that out, and then I just put my glue here up to about there, just to be safe. And it's just like a little puzzle. Just pop that right into place like that. There we go. And we've got a nice little wisp here as well. Actually, you know what, before we do that, since we don't have a full tree here, we do have little segments of a tree. So you want to find this piece here. I'm not even sure what this piece looks like, but you can see it. So just find yours that looks like this. And we're going to match that up with the top of the tree, and then it should fit kind of like a puzzle and kind of hug that little smoke thing that we just put there. All right, next we're going to find this piece, and this edge is going to go up against the roof. This flat edge is going to go up against the flat part of our card. Sorry, sometimes it's hard to think and talk while I'm applying my glue. And that looks about right. There we go. Okay, and one tiny little piece here, and that is going to go, it's going to go like this, right in the corner here, just like that. Okay, so I just want to show you how it looks before I glue it down. And I think I have a little moisture on my finger, and it's acting like my little pick-me-up tool, which is convenient. So just slide that down just till about right there. Okay, and now again we've got one more little thing of smoke here. And we'll get our glue on that. And just line that up with the green section here. There we go. And there's our scene. It's getting there. Okay. A couple more things that we're going to do is we're going to add our colorful or white little snowbank here at the bottom. That should match up and line up nicely with the little mechanism that we already have in place. So get your glue on this piece. like that. Oh, a little heavy there. Okay. And again, just kind of pop it in there like a little puzzle piece, and also make sure that you try to keep it as flush with the bottom and lined up with the side there as well. And I also hit that with a little bit of turquoise to give those little snow drifts some color. Okay, there we go. Now if you see that you have little pieces there that are kind of not completely flattened down. You see how I can lift that up really easily? Just grab a scrap piece of paper, throw a little bit of glue on there, and just paint a little bit of glue on the underside of that piece. And then you can push it down. There we go. And that's good. All right, next piece here, that's gonna go, no, that's going here. Let me find the other one. There it is. Okay, so that, you wanna make sure that that is nice and flush with the top. There's gonna be a little bit of a gap here just to make sure that this thing can fold properly. So that is by design. It's not gonna be perfectly butting up to it. So don't worry about that. If you have a little space there, that's completely by design. This thing needs to be able to fold so you can mail it. And that's really the only way you could do that. Okay, so just get that in position. Make sure it's nice and lined up and nice and flush with the bottom. And that looks, there we go. Give that a press. Now I'm putting this on a piece of paper that, see, look at that came up, and that is because I'm using paper that has some glitter on it, and you know how much I curse that glitter. And it's okay though. I just need to be more patient. And sometimes when I'm doing these videos, it's hard to just sit there and make you wait for glue to dry. It's like watching paint dry, and nobody's got time for that. So I'll probably just do this real quick. Okay, so I'm gonna try to be a little more patient with this piece here so that this doesn't come off. I do have one more little section here that I gotta put down. So I'm gonna do that. And then we've got just a few more little sections here to put together. There's a little sign that says hi with a nice little cardinal on top, and then we'll put our little trees in for the mechanism and call it a day. All right, so we're gonna bring this over here, get that aligned with the right bottom edge here of our card, and press that into place, and I'm gonna press this down, and I'm going to cut at this point and come back in just a moment when all of this is nice and dry. Okay, you know what? I think it's doing pretty well. It's holding on now. So all that's really left to do now is just glue down the little pieces for our sign here. There's a small green piece, and I hit this with some dark green ink just to kind of make it stand out a little bit more. So just like a little puzzle, just make sure that you get that kind of flush with the little rolling hills of snow. And then we have our little sign here that says hi with our little cardinal on it. So you want to put glue on this entire thing because there's a nice little shadow layer that you're going to place this on. And don't worry too much about the little details there. You don't need to get glue on every single little bit of it. Just a tiny bit will do. And I'm kind of using the cardinal as my guide here. Just making sure that he lines up nicely. Okay, so there's our little sign. And then we do have one more little element here for the cardinal, just to make him stand out more. And it's a nice little red glitter. So just get your glue on our little cardie. And we'll get him into place. And there we go. Pardon my head there for just a second. There we go. Okay. So that is it for the structure of the card. Now all that's left to do now is just put our little mechanisms in. I'm going to do my best to show you that process. So you can see how it's standing up. Now again, the large tree is going up in front. Okay, and I'm sorry, the large tree is going up and back, right in the back, and then the small tree is going to go up in front. So again, take your tabs, fold them away from you. And before I glue this down, I'm just going to show you, we're going to put glue on the outside here of the tabs. We're going to pop this in, and we're going to bring this back and make those tabs touch the back right here, the back of the card. Let me see if I can angle this a little bit better. I'll show you here. I'll make sure you get it. So let's get our glue on these two tabs. It's just like a box card. I'm sure many of you have made box cards, whether they're from our site or from other sites. But this one's same sort of concept, just a little bit different. All right, so I'm going to fold these in so that as I'm putting it in there, I don't accidentally get glue all over the place. That's fine like that. Okay, so it's facing this way. We're going to slide it in there, and then we want to make sure that these tabs are touching the back of the card, and they're also flush with the base of the card. Okay, so just do one side at a time. Make sure that that tab is nice and flush with the bottom, and that it is pressed up against the side there, and that the end of that is touching the back of the card. And then move on over to this side here, and just get that in place. Make sure that that's touching the back of the card, and it's also flush with the bottom. You want to make sure that this thing is nice and even. And then before it's completely set, as long as you got it in the right spot, take it and just fold it over and then press down. And that will kind of break the paper in a little bit so that you get that effect, so that it's okay moving around. It'll kind of tear those fibers up, loosen them up, so that it's ready to, be active, I guess, be alive. Okay, so there's our first tree, and you can see how nice that looks when it's nice and dimensional. Okay, so that just leaves this tree here. Now again, you want to take the tabs and fold them towards you, and we're going to put glue on these tabs here. What a beautiful card. Kudos to my team, Ron with the amazing design, and Diana for bringing it to life. This is not an easy thing to do. All right, so again, we're gonna stick this in here, okay? And I'm gonna start on this side here. So this tab here, we're gonna glue to this piece here. We want to make sure that it's nice and flush at the bottom, and that it's touching the back of this part, okay? And then you can take the other tab here and just press it up against the side while making sure that it's also nice and flush with the bottom of the card. Okay, so give that a press, make sure that it's there, and then before it's fully set, go ahead and fold it over, make sure that it will fold, and then also make sure that it opens up, and there you go. Okay, and that looks like it's holding nicely. And there is the final card, pretty much done. Actually, it is done. It's beautiful. I love this card. So definitely take some time and ink this. And it really brings it to life with all the inking. You can just see how beautiful everything looks together. Okay, so the card's done. Wouldn't be complete without a coordinating envelope to go with it. So we have that for you. And I usually pre-fold these things, but I didn't fold this one. Let me grab my little scraper tool, my bone folder. Okay, so what you want to do is just fold everything at the score marks here, just like that. Okay, get that nice and folded, and like that. This was scored with my Silhouette Maker. You still have to use a bone folder. It doesn't really fold that deeply. Okay, now we got this white piece here. This is going to go inside here like this so that the little flap looks like that. But before we do that, we're going to want to put our glue on the flap itself, just like this. Okay, and just work your way around. Oops. And then you're going to want to put a little bit of glue on the little tiny pieces here so that they don't come pulling off. Just a tiny little dot. And if you got too much on there, excuse me, Mr. Spider, you can just take your finger and just dab it. Just like that. All right, so we're gonna take this white piece and we're just gonna kind of drop it in there. And I lift this up so that I can kind of feel where that score mark is. Make sure it's centered. And then just simply fold it over. And press down to get that to adhere nicely. Okay. There we go. I'm going to throw some little rhinestones in the center of this, this snowflake just to kind of make it look nice. And the rest of this, very simple. We'll just take these two flaps here, fold them in, and just a thin line of glue right along the very edge here. Fold those in, fold that up, and press. Hold that down for just a moment while it sets. Okay. Just be patient. Yeah, I'm gonna do it anyway. I always tell myself I'm not going to do this, but I always do it anyway. But your envelope is ready for the card. You can see how nicely that fits in there, closes up. Usually use a little pop dot or something to just hold it closed temporarily so you can reopen it, or a little Velcro dot, magnet, or whatever. And that is it. What a beautiful card. That's going to look amazing on someone's mantle or wherever they put their holiday cards. And of course, you've got your little area on the back for your journaling or stamping or whatnot. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please take a moment and hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. And if you make this or any of the items from our new bundle, we'd love to see them. So go ahead and post a picture in the official group on Facebook. So head on over to your Facebook and do a search for Dreaming Tree Group up top of the search bar. And you can join myself and the 13,000, probably almost 14,000 plus dreamers that inspire us daily. So thank you so much for crafting with me, and I look forward to crafting with you again.
Stay on top of all things Dreaming Tree and engage with us today. Get the latest news and enter in our giveaways on Facebook. Get inspired by following us on Pinterest. Be the first to see our new product launches on Instagram. Do you prefer Twitter? Yep, we're there too. Watch our beautiful product trailers and assembly tutorials on YouTube. For more information, visit www.3dsvg.com. Live, craft, love, and dream.